Good evening and welcome to Breaking Today News right here on Switch TV. I am Lincoln Ombogwa. Our sign language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. And these are the headlines.
Hangekuacha nyuma kama mlikuwa marafiki. Hangekosa kukutendea wema. Na sana sana hakukuwa anagojea umuulize, alikuwa mbele yako.
President Kenyatta eulogizes late Juja legislator Francis Waitito as a perfect example of a servant leader who served his constituents with the highest level of integrity.
Saide duru ilipigwa huko Rwathia, tukakuta mtoto amelala hapa kwa majani, ametolewa nguo na amekatakatwa.
Shock and terror engulf a village in Kangema, Murang'a County after the body of an 8-year-old was found mutilated and dumped in a tea farm. And 279 girls kidnapped from their boarding school in northern Nigeria have been released and are on government premises. You can now watch your favorite programs on the following platforms: Signet Zuku Channel 53 or AJAB Channel 338. You can also catch our episodes on our website www.switchtv.ke, Switch TV News YouTube channel, or download the Switch TV app on Google Play Store or the App Store. Send in your feedback to SMS line 111 444 111 and at Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Wumbugo. Residents in Kangema, Murang'a County have expressed their rage after the body of a minor was found mutilated and murdered. The body of the 8-year-old is said to have been found dumped in a nearby tea farm after a group search by villagers following her disappearance. Hadia Mosiwa files the report.
Shock and terror engulfed the village of Rathia in Kangema, Murang'a County after a minor was found in a tea farm murdered and her private parts mutilated. John Ongala, police commander in Kangema, confirmed the incident, saying that they have a suspect in custody and will proceed with prosecutions as soon as more implicating evidence is found.
Na wakiwa wanatafuta pia wakapata mshukiwa mmoja. Alikuwa miongoni mwao akiwasaidia kutafuta. Huyo mshukiwa anaaminika ya kwamba miezi 8 iliyopita alijaribu kumnajisi mama moja hapo, naye akatoroka. So alipotoroka miezi 8 iliyopita ndio amekuja ana wiki kama 2 hivi tangu arudi. So uchunguzi unaendelea kufanywa, na iwapo atakuwa amepatikana na hatia ama evidence ya kutosha kumpeleka kotini, hatimaye atapelekwa kotini maybe kesho ama kesho kutwa.
The 8-year-old is said to have gone missing yesterday night after her father left her home alone to milk cows. According to area residents, her clothes were found near the suspect's home, and after a thorough search, they found the minor's body murdered in a nearby tea farm.
Saide duru ilipigwa huko Rwathia, tukakuta mtoto amelala hapa kwa majani, ametolewa nguo na amekatakatwa. Sehemu za siri na akakatwa hapa kwa nyondo.
According to Ongala, the suspect, who is in the hands of the police, is said to have previously attempted to rape an old woman before disappearing for weeks.
Kwa sababu huyo mtu akipelekwa pale Kagema ataenda achiliwe na hogo ama board, tena arudi huku. Hata akiachiliwa serikali ijue mahali itampeleka, lakini sio huku Rwathia, ili hatumutaki.
Kwa jumla haya mambo yanafanyika kutokana na ule kutumia dawa za kulevya, na pia wale vijana kukaa hohehahe wakisema hakuna kazi badala ya kujifanya innovative.
As police conduct more investigations, residents have urged the law enforcers to get justice for the family. Hadia Mosiwa for Switch TV.
Thank you, Hadia Mosiwa. Elsewhere, all 279 girls kidnapped from their boarding school in northern Nigeria have been released and are on government premises. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari expressed overwhelming joy over the release of the girls from days of captivity, vowing tougher actions against kidnappers. Nigeria has been rocked by 4 mass abductions of students in less than 3 months, sparking widespread anger against the government and memories of the 2014 kidnappings of hundreds of schoolgirls in Chibok in the country's east that shocked the world.
Hundreds of kidnapped girls have finally been released. Authorities initially said 317 girls were abducted in the raid by hundreds of gunmen on the government girls' secondary school in remote Jagembe village on Friday. Government officials had been in talks with the kidnappers, known locally as bandits. Heavily armed criminal gangs in northwest and central Nigeria have stepped up attacks in recent years, kidnapping for ransom, raping and pillaging. The Nigerian military deployed to the area in 2016 and a peace deal with bandits was signed in 2019, but attacks have continued. In December, more than 300 boys were kidnapped from a school in Kankara in President Buhari's home estate of Katsina. While he was visiting the region, the boys were later released, but the incident triggered outrage and memories of the kidnapping of 276 schoolgirls by jihadists in Chibok. Many of those girls are still missing. The gangs are largely driven by financial motives and have no known ideological leanings, but there are concerns they are being infiltrated by armed Islamists. The jihadist decade-old conflict has killed more than 30,000 people and spread into neighboring Niger, Chad and Cameroon. Authorities have denied paying any ransom to secure the recent releases, although analysts say this is unlikely and security experts fear that this will lead to an increase in kidnappings in these regions plagued by extreme poverty. President Buhari, who has been criticized for failing to deal with the unrest, had insisted that he would not succumb to blackmail by bandits. More than 100 of schoolgirls remain missing and it is not known how many of them are still alive. Buhari had promised to end the conflict in the northeast, but the situation has sharply deteriorated since. Jihadists linked to the Islamic State have attacked a UN base and overrun a humanitarian hub in Dikwa, northern Nigeria. The student abductions have increased the number of children who cannot attend school, especially girls. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Kanyaru Alex.
Thank you, Kanyaru Alex. Back to the country, President Uhuru Kenyatta has urged public servants to shun from corruption-related activities as they hold precious positions in government. Speaking during the late Juja legislator Francis Waitito's burial, the president asked all Kenyans to emulate the workmanship of the late MP by serving everyone equally without discrimination of any kind. Namukene Samuel reports.
Down the aisle.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has urged Kenyans, especially those holding leadership positions, to shun all forms of corruption when working for Kenyans.
Mwenzetu hakuwa mdhaifu, alikuwa mtendakazi, alikuwa mpenda wananchi, alikuwa mpenda amani, alikuwa mtu ambaye roho yake ilikuwa roho safi.
Speaking during the late Juja MP Francis Waitito's burial service at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology grounds in Juja, Kiambu County, the president said the late politician served all people without discrimination.
Hangekuacha nyuma kama mlikuwa marafiki. Hangekosa kukutendea wema. Na sana sana hakukuwa nagojea umuulize, alikuwa mbele yako.
The president assured Juja constituents that the government will accomplish the projects that the late MP had initiated.
My husband was a man of the people, a man who stood by his family throughout, a man who was a hero to all who knew him, a man who loved unconditionally, a man who believed in sharing and caring, a man who put a smile on people's faces.
National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi, who also spoke at the solemn ceremony, said the late MP was a nationalist who strongly supported government business in Parliament.
And the love I have for you will never die. Your last word to me still echoes in my ears, and I will always remember them until we meet again. To the children and I will always remember and pray for you.
Kuona kiongozi amechaguliwa mara mbili ni kumaanisha ya kwamba wananchi walikuwa wanajua na wameona kazi yake.
The late Juja MP, also known as Wakape, succumbed to brain cancer a week ago at a Nairobi hospital. Namukana Samuel, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Namukone Samuel. Elsewhere, ODM leader Raila Odinga, who is in a 5-day Blitz campaign for the Building Bridges initiative in the Coast region, has urged the region's residents to support the amendment of the 2010 Constitution, pointing out that it will help spur the region's economic growth. Take a look.
Speaking to residents of MUTILATED, Taita, Taveta County today, Raila laughed off at those opposing the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020, saying that the BBI reggae is unstoppable. Raila is on his 5-day coast tour to popularize the BBI campaign. He also drummed up support for ODM party, saying it will give support to women in joining political space.
Chama ambayo itakuwa imepata kura mingi zaidi ndio wataongezewa kiti kingine ya wamama. Hata kwa upande ya county assembly itakuwa namna hiyo. Wanajumulisha kura yote ambayo imepigiwa kwa MC candidates. Alafu hiyo sasa ndio itaamua chama gani ambayo itapata viti zaidi hapa na pale.
Taita Taveta Governor Granton SAMBOJA said amending the constitution will save Taita Taveta County from losing 2 of its constituencies that have not attained the required population quota yet.
Lakini ile ya 2010 hatukujua mbele kuna madhara. Kuna kipengele kiliwekwa miaka 10 ikifika, kama hamjafikisha idadi fulani ya watu, hilo eneo bunge litaondolewa liunganishwe na lingine.
SAMBOJA's sentiments were echoed by Suna East MP Junet Mohamed.
Kuna wale ambaye wametembea kila pahali ya nchi wakieneza porojo na propaganda ya kusema BBI sio kitu nzuri. Simwasikia? Wanasema ati BBI haileti manufaa yote, ni kitu ya kusaidia wakubwa, ya kulete vyo, kulete sijui nini.
Pamoja jamani.
Other leaders who accompanied Raila Odinga include MP Jones Molola of Voi and Andrew Mwandime of Mwatate. Emmanuel Terer, Switch TV.
Thank you, Emmanuel Terer. Barely 24 hours after picking up the position of Deputy Secretary General in the Jubilee Party after the axing of Caleb Kositanyi, Cherangani Member of Parliament Joshua Kutunya has dared the Deputy President to leave the Jubilee Party, mentioning that it is and will not be an easy task for him. Kutunya has also said that it was a bad call for Ruto to disappoint the very party that got him into power.
There is a thin line between democracy in the political party and political party discipline. Huwezi kuhujumu chama ambayo imekuleta wewe. Na hiyo ndio msimamo wangu mimi. Na pili na mwisho, tutashirikiana vitu viwili kwa sasa. Ya kwanza ni kuendelesha BBI.
Away from politics, the first batch of COVID-19 vaccines under the COVAX distribution program is set to arrive in the country at midnight through the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. The vaccine will be cleared as they remain in the cold chain storage before its distribution countrywide. This comes at a time when the country has recorded 365 new infections from a sample size of 5,550 in the last 24 hours.
11 days shy of a year since the first case of COVID-19 was reported in Kenya, the first batch of AstraZeneca vaccine is expected to arrive in the country midnight tonight. The consignment contains 1.02 million doses of the vaccine. On arrival, the vaccine is set to be cleared while in a cold room storage at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport before being transported in refrigerated tanks to National Storage Facility in Kitengela. It will thereafter be dispatched to storage sites across the country, being Kakamega, Nyeri, Garissa, Meru, Mombasa, Nairobi, Nakuru, Kisumu and Eldoret to serve the entire country. This distribution process is expected to take 2 days to 3 days. They will then be distributed to county referral hospitals, then level 5 and 4 facilities selected as COVID-19 vaccination centers. The vaccine will be issued in 2 doses as per the recommendations of the World Health Organization. After the first injection, the second jab of the virus will then be received after 8 weeks. However, scientists have casted doubt on the 2 doses, some recommending that the vaccine is issued in 3 shots to be fully effective. Phase 1 of the vaccination program is set to run till June, targeting 1.25 million essential workers, with priority given to healthcare workers, security officers, teachers, and then the elderly. Phase 2 of the vaccine is set to run from July up to June 2022. Kenya now joins Ghana and Nigeria in the list of countries in Africa that have received the AstraZeneca vaccine from the COVAX facility. The second consignment is expected in the country in 3 weeks' time. With the first batch of COVID-19 vaccines being expected in the country at midnight tonight, there is finally hope for Kenyans. However, the ministry warns that this is not an assurance for Kenya to do away with measures, the COVID preventive measures that had been placed there before. David Kagina, Switch TV from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi.
Thank you, David Kagina. We now take a short commercial break, but the question we ask you tonight, now that the vaccines will be here at midnight, are you going to present yourself for inoculation? Ponder on it. Stay tuned. Pas unakaa dakika 5 buda. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. An upsurge in cases of suicide and homicide in MOLO, Nakuru County have continued to raise alarm among residents who are now calling for immediate intervention. More than 9 people have died in the past 3 months, and in the most recent incident yesterday when 2 middle-aged men were found dead separately in their homes in MOLO. MOLO residents claim that alcoholism, mental health and hopelessness may have led to the rising cases. Local leaders are urging members of the public to seek advice from religious and community leaders when they feel cornered by life.
Ningependa kusema si jambo la busara na halistahili hata kabisa. Tunajua kweli kuna shida, kuna uzito wa maisha na zote tunapitia uzito fulani. Huenda labda pengine wewe unafikiria upande wako ya kwamba ni wewe tu unayepitia katika hali ngumu. Kuna watu ambao wanapitia hali ngumu zaidi kuliko hizo zako na hawajajitoa uhai. Sioni kabisa kujitoa uhai kama ndio suluhisho. Kwa sababu unapokuwa umesongwa na jambo fulani ama umekasirika na jambo fulani, sio watu wote wamekukosea. Unaweza kutafuta rafiki wa karibu na muweze kushare naye ama muweze kuongea, kushauriana na pengine unaweza kupata ushauri ambao unaweza kuokoa uhai.
Ni jambo ambalo the county government ya Nakuru imeshukuria kwa umuhimu sana, sababu mental health ni part ya overall health, na sana katika maneno haya tunahimiza sana health promotion, watu wawe na hali nzuri ya kiakili na pia prevention, yani kuzuia watu kuingia katika hali ya ugonjwa wa kiakili. Lakini kwa wale ambao kwa bahati mbaya wataendelea kuwa wagonjwa na wanahitaji utaalamu wa kiudaktari, katika hospitali zetu sasa tumeweka wale watu ambao wanaweza kuwahudumia na pia dawa ambazo zinahusika katika maneno hayo.
Meanwhile, Ivory Coast has launched its vaccination campaign against COVID-19 thanks to COVAX, a global scheme to procure free COVID jabs for poorer countries. Secretary General in the presidency, Patrick Achi, is the first in the country to get the jab. Kanyeru Alex with his story.
Ghana and its West African neighbor Ivory Coast became the world's first states to administer vaccines from COVAX, a global scheme to procure free COVID jabs for poorer countries.
L'objectif principal est de vacciner 70% de chaque cible identifiée.
The main objective is to vaccinate 70% of each identified target. The priority target is estimated at around 5.6 million people and represents 20% of the total population. The target is composed of two phases. Phase 1 concerns 3% of the total population. It is made up of health personnel, defense and security forces and teachers.
La population totale, elle est constituée par le personnel de santé, les forces de défense et de sécurité, ainsi que les enseignants.
Richer nations have surged ahead with inoculating their population, but many poorer countries are awaiting their first vaccine doses.
Pour cette première phase,
for this first phase, vaccination will only concern the autonomous district of Abidjan, as Abidjan is the epicenter of the epidemic in the country, with 95% of positive cases. This campaign will take place over a period of 10 days.
Cette campagne se déroulera sur une période de 10 jours.
Patrick Achi, President Alassane Ouattara spokesman, was vaccinated in a tent vaccination center set up in a sports complex in Abidjan, the country's economic hub.
En se faisant ainsi vacciner,
by being vaccinated in this way and fulfilling this patriotic duty, these frontline actors, because they will be protected against COVID-19, will be able to allow gradual return to normalcy in our country and thus allow better access for Ivorians to health, education and security services.
Au service de santé, d'éducation et de protection.
Africa has been relatively spared in the global coronavirus pandemic, although there remain deep concerns about the potential for further surges caused by new variants of the microbe.
Nous sommes des gens qui sont...
We are people who are in contact with the population. We have children ourselves, and if I don't get vaccinated, if I contract the disease, we know several people who have died because of this story. There are even two well-known personalities of this country who died from it, so we can't play around with this.
S'amuser avec cette histoire.
The continent of 1.3 billion people has officially recorded 3.9 million cases out of the 114 million worldwide, according to an AFP tally. African fatalities number more than 103,000 out of a global 2.53 million. Outside the COVAX initiative, African countries that have launched vaccination drives include Senegal, South Africa, Zimbabwe, the Seychelles, Mauritius, Rwanda, Equatorial Guinea, Algeria, Morocco, and Egypt. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Kaniaro Alex.
Right, straight to the business stories of the day. Good evening. My name is Clifford Ndubi. The U.S. government has issued a new warning to civilian airlines flying in the Kenyan airspace to watch out for possible attacks by militant groups in what could heighten anxiety for the industry already weighed down by massive financial losses due to the travel restrictions to curb the spread of COVID-19. The U.S. Federal Aviation Authority say the advisory is consistent with the fact that Somalia-based terrorist group Al-Shabaab remains in possession of weapons capable of hitting aircraft at low altitudes of up to 25,000 feet, putting at risk arrival and departure phases of flights, especially on popular aviation routes through northeastern Kenya and Somalia. The air routes covered by FAA warning include those connecting Nairobi and far eastern countries like Dubai, India and China, among other destinations serviced by major airlines. Away from that, Safaricom has today partnered with the Higher Education Loans Board HELB to roll out a smart mobile payment solution for students of tertiary institutions to access and utilize their loans and bursaries. The solution will aid HELB to promote responsible spending with the funds locked for their specific allocations, such as tuition and library fees, only accessible to the specific paybill account of the recipient's university or Taveta institution. The student's upkeep allowance can now also be transferred into the student's M-Pesa wallet for everyday use.
It's actually controlled on how they use their funds, and also they can also move their funds to M-Pesa for their daily usage. And I think that's a tremendous step forward in helping students also manage their funds. And we applaud you for taking this really bold step going towards this agenda.
Indeed, this technology helps us to achieve a couple of success in student loan disbursement. One of them is timeliness. Because we have been having challenges in terms of timeliness through the mobile technology, accuracy on the phone holder. Today, we send money in the bank account, and the money comes back because the student has not been using the bank account, and therefore the account becomes dormant. Nobody will not be using his mobile money in the phone, so chances are that they will be able to have the money, and the money will not be able to bounce back.
Now, small-scale farmers opposed to the duty-free access of some products from the United Kingdom when the government stopped from entering a free trade deal with Britain. The shareholders, growers under the Kenya Small-Scale Farmers Forum have filed a petition at the High Court in Nairobi against the Kenyan government opposing the Economic Partnership Agreement with the UK. This comes just days after the UK Parliament declined to ratify the pact signed between Kenya and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, that is in the UK, in 2020 December. The farmers, in a joint petition with Econews Africa, a research and advocacy organization, argue that deal is in utter violation of fundamental rights and freedoms of the petitioners enshrined in Article 35 and 43 of the Kenyan Constitution. And finally, over 60 participants drawn from different nationalities participated in a 60 kilometers unmarked cycling race dubbed as a migration gravel fast series. According to one of the organizers, Zaka Gishane, they say that Murang'a County is lucky to hold the first series where the terrain basically will be where Mama Road is being done and will go a long way in boosting local tourism in all counties where series will be held. He called on both county and national governments to support such sports by creating an enabling environment such as tax exemption in importing bikes, which are quite expensive, and hosting such events.
What their parents like and get them to learn what what it's all about and get comfortable with the idea.
Today's event is the Migration Gravel Series, the first edition of a series of events that are off-road biking. Now, we've set it out to help in tourism promotion within our various counties.
Right, and that story from Murang'a County brings us to the end of the business news of the day. Up next is sports news with Lincoln Wambugu. Do have a good evening and keep watching Switch TV.
Clifford Dobie now to sports news. Confederation of African Football has opened disciplinary proceedings against Gor Mahia players keeper Boniface Oloch and skipper Kenneth Muguna. This comes after the officials of the CAF Confederation match between Gor Mahia and Napsa Stars of Zambia indicated in their report that the two Gor players attacked them and used abusive language against them after the final whistle. CAF has given Gor Mahia 5 days to give their side of the story before a decision is taken on their behavior.
Napsa Stars should have been doing this earlier on. Great skill from the young man who just came in earlier on, Mukea. Final impression, that was a penalty without a doubt. You don't need VAR to come to the foot. That was a penalty. The late challenge was a penalty
by all standards.
But the question, Franklin, is this the moment?
Elsewhere, Richarlison scored the only goal of the game against Southampton as Ancelotti's side moved level on their points with their Merseyside neighbours Liverpool. Richarlison's goal was one of the two shots on target in a game where both sides failed to find any consistent rhythm. Defeat for the injury-hit Saints was an 8th in 9 games as they remained